Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I will be talking about one of the most important topic for the PMP exam. The name of that topic is life cycle and development approach. I used to call it that this is the backbone for the PMP exam. So without any other delay, I will take you to the whiteboard and I will now explain the concept for the life cycle and development approach. Life cycle. What is the life cycle of a project? What is a life cycle of anything? The life cycle of anything is something that starts all the way it ends. When it comes to the project start and the project end, and what we will get deliverables at the end, right? So a life cycle of a project is the project start and project ends. A project passes through a series of development stages. This is how they define it. A project passes through a series of development stages. What does that mean? It means from start till end, there will be some development stages of the project that the project passes through. Now, if we name those development stages, we might end up with these names: feasibility, design, build, test, deploy, and close. So a project passes through these stages: design, or feasibility, design, build, test, deploy, close. Now, at the end of each stage, I may say this is stage, there is a checkpoint. This checkpoint we call it stage gate. Yes, it's a stage gate. If we are calling these stages as phases, so it will be known as phase gate, right? This is the point where we decide that are we going to move forward or not. This is a point where we check all the previous work regarding the previous stage is clear, and then we move on to the next stage, which is the design stage if we are at the feasibility. Now, if we are at the design, we will create something over here. As we go towards this gate, and before moving into the next stage, we will see if our design is as per the requirement or not. Are we achieving that deliverable or not? So the word checkpoint, the word stage gate, the word phase gate all means the same. Another interesting word that is attached with this is the kill point. What does that mean, a kill point? It means that at this point you will decide whether you want to go forward with the project or not. And if you say no, maybe due to many other reasons, then you kill the project, you close the project at this point. So phase closure activities will start. And by the way, just telling you, stage closure, phase closure and project closure activities are the same. Okay, you go back to that project closure video, okay, and see the project closure activities, They are the same as phase closure. Anyways, coming back to the topic. Life cycle, start and end. A project passes through these stages: feasibility, design, build, test, deploy, and close. Now, this particular box that you see over here, from design till deploy, this box we call development stage or development phase. Now, how to approach this development phase? There are many concepts, a lot of concepts, a lot of terminologies will be there. How we approach? So, we can say our project is divided into 3 stages. Stage number 1 is the feasibility stage, and we have a checkpoint over here. And the last stage is known as the closing stage. We have a checkpoint over here, and then in between we have a development stage. So we talk like this: yeah, our project passes through the feasibility stage, now it is in the development stage. What does that mean? It means that we are doing design, build, test, deploy, close, right? Deploy actually. So we are going through these stages anywhere in between. Now, how to approach the development stage? That is what you need to know. What concepts you require, that is what you need to know. But first we will develop the terminology. Once we understand those terms, then we will apply different project scenarios. I will show you some pictures that will help you to understand what are those factors that we always need to keep in mind while selecting an appropriate development approach. So let us go directly to that point. So we need to discuss development approach concepts. Now imagine, I will explain this concept based upon one factor, and then later on we can apply other factors to see what's our result and how we are taking decision, how we are selecting an approach. So now the very first thing, let us say we have a product and the product has requirements. The product has requirements. Now if the requirements are fully known, or you can know them, you are doing this sort of work for quite a long time, you develop that expertise, or you have ample time to gather all the requirements without any problem, right? So requirements are known. When you come up with this situation, you always try to plan up front. You will try to plan everything up front, maximum thing up front. The major part of the planning will be done here. Why? Because you don't want to take risk. Because if you have a chance to gather all the requirements, why to take risk? So you plan all the things up front. You will plan the scope, you will plan the schedule, you will plan the cost, and your goal in this particular stage is remain within budget, remain within the plan. That's your goal. And your delivery will be once you have completed, only then you will deliver. So this particular approach towards the work, we call it predictive approach. It is also known as the traditional approach, or the waterfall approach, right? Why the waterfall approach? Simple. If you go up and see feasibility, design, build, test, deploy, close, waterfall approach means if you pour the water on the first step, it will go and touch down every step and come down all the way to the closure stage, right? So this is how it will work. So this is the predictive approach. Now, all started with the requirements known. What's on the other side? If we say the requirements are unknown, you don't know, or there are a lot of requirements and you don't have time to gather all the requirements, you need to be first in the market, right? You need to be first in the market and the requirements are too much. So what you do in that case, or a solution that you need to provide is very unique and you don't have the right solution for sure, what you can do in that case, so it can be nothing is known. One chance is nothing is known, right? So what you do in that case, you try to create a demo, right? You try to create a prototype, then you test it. After the test you get the feedback and then you go and create demo 2. So you create a cycle, because after demo 2 you will go back and test, get the feedback, and then demo 3. So every demo, every prototype that you are creating is an improved version of your previous demonstration, of your previous demo, and you will launch once you get the correct solution. So the launch is once, means the delivery is once, and the correct solution is your goal. This particular approach towards the work is known as iterative approach or iterative approach. Iterative means repetition, to repeat. So you create a cycle of repetition, demos after demos. For this you can say COVID vaccine is an example. Means that there was a COVID vaccine we need to make, we don't know the correct solution, so the people who were working on that project created demos after demos until they got the correct solution, and then they launch it. That's an iterative approach towards the work. Now the next side over here is some part of the requirements are known. Some part means based on that part you create an increment, you create a portion of the work that is launchable, that is releasable. So you create a portion, you release it, and then you create your increment 2, portion 2, and then you release it as well. So basically in this part, what is happening, you are creating a portion that is releasable and you release it for the people to use and you generate quick return. The whole point of this exercise of releasing quickly with multiple deliveries is, of course, generate early value. So your goal is to release quick and there will be the deliverables will be multiple. The delivery will be multiple. This particular approach towards the work, we call it incremental approach, where we are moving forward bits by bits, increment by increment, portion by portion. Now just see how many words we have got here. So we have a predictive approach, we have an iterative approach, we have an incremental approach. All of these are coming from the requirements which is known and unknown. Let me just summarize these things over here in this one picture. So you have a predictive approach. Now let me just write, you have unknown requirements and all the way on the other side you have known requirements, right? Let me write unknown over here and unknown over here. Let us continue with the same symmetry that I have written above. Known requirements and the unknown requirements. For the known, we call it a predictive approach. For the unknown, we call it adaptive approach. Predictive approach is plan driven and adaptive approach is change driven. Means change is driving the project forward. And we have just explored it is a combination. Adaptive is a combination of two approaches. We discussed iterative, where nothing is known, you need a correct solution, so you create cycle after cycle, demo after demo, prototype after prototype, and every prototype or every demo is an improved version of the previous through the incorporation of feedback. That's an iterative approach. And the other one is an incremental approach, where we generate bits by bits, portion by portion, increment in a way that that particular portion is usable. And if the people use it, we generate early value, early return, right? So the good quality of iterative is correct solution and feedback to improve, and a good quality of incremental is, of course, quick delivery. And what is the good quality of adaptive? Combination of both. You are continuously generating feedback and at the same time you are having a mindset of quick delivery. That is adaptive. Another word for adaptive is what we call agile. You might have heard about this word a lot. Agile. Agile means, if you literally Google this word right now, it means easy to move. Move quickly. Easily done. Quickly done. That's it. So coming back here, we have predictive approach, we have an adaptive approach, right? Adaptive is agile, which is a combination of two approaches, in which one approach is generating feedback and the other approach is quick release. Now here's the thing, one more thing you need to know. Combination of adaptive and predictive is a hybrid approach. So what's an hybrid? Hybrid is a combination of predictive and adaptive. You can be all predictive and only small part adaptive, or you can be all adaptive with one or two phases predictive. You are working in a hybrid project. And with the passage of time in this today's market 2026, a lot of projects are hybrid because they want to plan all the things up front, majority of the things up front, especially risk management should be done up front, but then they are in a view of releasing the product as early as possible, as quickly as possible. In this competitive market in which we are living, adaptive really works well. Quick release really works well, right? So in this today's competitive market, hybrid is the way forward. Now, as per the PMP questions and the concepts behind them, they will use these words in the scenarios. In all the project scenarios, in all the questions that you will see, all of these words will be used. So you should be aware of these words and know how to understand them and how to answer the question. One of the important question that comes in the exam as well is how you will recommend a particular development approach. Right? They will give you a scenario and they will say which approach will be best for you in this scenario. Adaptive, predictive, hybrid. So what are those factors that you always need to keep in mind while selecting an appropriate approach? I will show you some figures over here and we can see what I'm talking about. So the very first picture is in the traditional setup, we have fixed requirements. Based on those fixed requirements, we estimate the resources and estimate the time, that how much time it will take us to complete the work. For example, let me give you the same example. See, I want to upgrade the room in which I am sitting. I will upgrade the paint, I will change the curtains, I will change the picture that you see at the back. These three things I am changing, right? Now my requirements are fixed. Based on the requirements, I will estimate the resources and estimate the time, that how much time it will take me to complete the work and what resources I require. That's a predictive approach. Now, what's agile? Agile or adaptive? We fix the resources and we fix the time, and based on these two things, we will see how many features we are going to deliver. That's why it is a value-driven approach. What does that mean? Let us say I am upgrading the room. So I will fix the resources, that okay, I have 2 people with me working, and I will fix the time, that I have only 3 days. After 3 days, my relatives are coming over here and I need to spare a room for them. So I will see what are the biggest feature I can deliver. So, and valuable as well. So I might say, okay, I might change the paint only, forget about the curtains, and especially forget about that picture, right? Paint will end in 2 days, doesn't matter, right? And it will be dry in like 1 day. So we have 3 days, we can cover that up. That is more valuable. value driven approach. Okay. Now, another picture that I will show you is assessing the complexity using the Stacy diagram. The diagram that you see over here is a very famous, and it's a Stacy model. What does that mean? What does it explains actually? On x-axis we have technical capability, which is far from certainty, means unknown. Close to certainty means known. And on the y-axis we have requirements. Requirements far from agreement means unknown, and close to agreement means known. Now, if you are at the known category, you are at the simple area, linear approaches works well. But if you go forward and you are going into the mid technical capability or mid unknown requirements, you are going into the complicated area, and then you might go into the complex area. Here the guideline says that adaptive approaches works really well. But of course, if the technical capability is far from certainty, means totally unknown, and you don't know the requirements, the thing is fundamentally risky. You might not invest on that particular project. So basically the whole idea of this picture is, if things are getting a little more unknown, complicated or complex, adaptive approaches will work well. Now the next diagram shows here about two different things here. One of them is the degree of change, and the other one is the frequency of delivery. Frequency of delivery means how many deliverables you have. Can you break down your project into multiple deliverables? What should be the frequency of that delivery? Will you be doing it monthly, weekly? Like, what is that? How often? If that frequency is high, you lie over here. If that frequency is low, maybe only one deliverable is there, you are sitting at this particular point. On the x-axis we have degree of change, which means higher you go means a lot of change is expected, and lower you come means less changes are expected. Now as you see over here, predictive is sitting at the lower side of the degree of change and the lower side of the frequency of delivery. Means there will be changes, but it will be less, and deliverable will be one, right? Low frequency. But if you are having a high frequency of delivery and the changes are less, incremental works well, go portion by portion, but your deliverables are high. You are dividing your deliverables into phases, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, right? Now, if your degree of change is high, but your deliverable is 1, means the COVID vaccine. COVID vaccine cannot be broken down into multiple deliverables. But the degree of change is high, you don't know the correct solution, you might go back and forth every time. So, you are at this iterative approach. And the whole idea is agile is sitting over here, which means high degree of change and high frequency of deliveries. Let me show you another diagram. Now, as of now, we were discussing a lot of factors. By the way, we have discussed the requirements, known, unknown, degree of change, frequency of deliveries, and technical capabilities. But there are some other factors that we always need to keep in mind while selecting an appropriate approach. One of them is, of course, categorized under team. What's your team size? Studies have shown that agile works well if you have a smaller team. If you have a bigger team, agile might have a problem. Experience. What's the experience of your team members? Are they experienced in agile? Are they experienced in predictive? We must know that. We must assess their experience. so that we act accordingly. It's not a good practice that if your team members are experienced in agile and you are forcing them to go all the way to predictive. If you are forcing them, okay, be it, but remember that requires some learning, that requires some coaching, that requires some trainings so that they get themselves trained in that particular methodology. Then we have access, teams access. Are they easily co-located with each other? They can access each other or not? Because agile works well if the team members are sitting in one room. That's the best scenario. Okay, sitting in one area because they can see face to face interaction might take place. Then the second factor is categorized under the culture. What's the culture of your organization? Do your employees trust you? Do your senior management have a trust on you? Is your space is safe? People can speak out. If yes, if there is yes to all of those answers, agile can work really well. Buy-in. Can you get your stakeholders on board with you easily? Then agile can work well. Decision making. What about the decision making? Is it just only the top management taking the decision, or it is like decentralized? So agile works well if the decision is distributed. And of course, we have already touched down the project part, which is all about changes, criticality, and delivery. If the changes are more, agile might suit. If criticality is more, agile will also suit. And if number of deliveries are more, agile will also suit us. So always keep in mind this whole dynamic about the team, culture, and the project. These are all the decisions that might help us to recommend an appropriate approach. Now, what about hybrid? If you see this picture over here, hybrid is in the middle. It clearly tells hybrid is in the middle. So what we have on this side, we have predictive, and on the opposite, total opposite side, we have adaptive. Now just imagine if you are standing over here and your organization is saying, senior management is saying that, oh, let's go to adaptive. You must know that you will walk down this path. You are walking here like this. So if you are walking here like this, what will come first? Hybrid will come first. How it will come? You are all predictive, and slowly you are increasing the iterative and incremental practices in your project. So first you will become a hybrid, and slowly you will become adaptive. Change will not happen over time. It will require some time for you to change. And of course, training is one of the most important things that will happen while you are transitioning from one development approach to another, from one methodology to another. So, what we have gone through this particular picture in detail. Before this development approach concept, at the start of the video, we discussed what is the life cycle of the project. Now, one thing I will add before I close our lecture for this particular video, people often confuse initiation, planning, execution, monitor and control, and closing as the life cycle of the project. I will not correct them. I don't need to. If you want to understand it like this, be it. No issues. But let me tell you how PMBOK, project management body of knowledge is describing them. Previously, they used to call all these stages as process groups. So there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 process groups. What does that mean? It means each process group will have a group of processes. Initiation has 2 processes, planning has 22, 23 processes. Similarly, execution has process, monitoring has process. So if you want to learn project management, categorize each process under these 5 process groups and you will understand that. Now, in the 8th edition of the book, they are clearly putting up that this process groups are renamed. They are renamed to focus areas. So now these 5 stages, phases, whatever you call them, these are known as focus areas, right? So keep that in mind. Always, don't confuse these things with the project phases, right? So these are now the focus areas of project management. And what is happening in each focus area? You are running some processes. So there are some processes that are running under each focus area. So if I summarize over here and zoom out what we have gone through in our today's lecture, in our video for today, is life cycle development approach, a lot of development approaches from predictive, adaptive and hybrid, and of course we now know how we can define the process groups or the focus areas. Okay, so that's it for today's video. Don't forget to subscribe. Means please do subscribe if you like this video, and I will see you in the next video. Have a good day.